Meeting, call the meeting to order. What we usually do is have our staff person call a roll call, but I'll go down myself since we're having a little bit of difficulty. Member Wheeler,
Here.
Member Jacobson,
Here.
Member Miles.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing there? And
Oh, well.
Teresa Sperlingwood is here. I heard her recently.
Say we're here.
Excuse me, Member Rockwell. Is Member Rockwell here? Rockwell's not here so far. Member Davis? Okay. Member Crow?
Here.
All right. And Member Fultz?
Here.
Thank you. All right. Roll call and call to order. I hear a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Barry made the motion and Carla made the second. Any discussion on adopting the consent agenda? Okay. And then we have to call the roll to, because we can't just say everybody aye because it all blurs out. So Member Porter says aye. Member Wheeler?
Aye.
Member Miles?
Aye.
Member Teresa, oh, she's not a voting member, sorry. Tim's not here. Don's not here. Member Crow?
Aye.
And Member Fultz?
Aye.
All right, so
Forgive me, but I say aye too.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So we have an adoption motion and has carried to adopt the consent agenda, and that's the minutes. All right.
Chance to ask him about moving the thing because
Go ahead, Robin. I can hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not realize we were unmuted.
Yeah. Go ahead. I just took the roll call and did the adoption of the consent agenda.
Okay. I caught all of that. I wanted to ask if you all would consider maybe moving your old business to the end of the agenda and let staff go ahead of that. But
that's fine by me. Everybody else got any issue with that? Everybody's okay? We got
You need a
good?
motion or does it just go with it?
No, we don't need it.
the agenda. You can make that motion to adopt it with that one change.
So move.
All right.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. I think Carla seconded that.
Second.
So now you got me flustered. So we adopted the agenda, the consent agenda, but now we have to adopt the agenda for the meeting. So we have a motion for that. And then we just did a second for that. And
that
now,
is with the modification to
with the
move
modification, right. Now, since you're there, you can call the a vote on this one, Robin. Do you have a member list in front of you?
I do. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll let you do that.
Okay. Member Wheeler,
Aye.
Member Jacobson,
Aye.
Member Miles,
Aye.
Member Rockwell is absent, Member Crow,
Aye.
Member Fultz,
Aye.
and Chair Porter.
Aye.
That motion passes.
Okay, and does that put us at the citizen comment period, or we go directly into the work of the meeting?
Yes, we will have citizen comment. just as a reminder, the commission added it back into their regular meetings, so I thought it would be prudent to follow their lead and add it back to ours.
Right. Will that be at every adoption? Should we've had a citizen comment there, or is it good enough to have it here?
We probably should have, and I apologize for throwing all of our equilibrium off.
Oh, that's all right.
Better prepared next time.
Okay. So do we have citizen comment at this point?
We have no callers at this point in time. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. Now that does bring us to the work of the evening, right? Which is the new business, which is the resolution authorizing a renewal and reissuance of the 2017 Series C bonds.
No, excuse me. We will now do the state of the utility.
How could I miss that? That's my favorite part.
I'm
It's
not
probably
sure.
Tom's
Mr.
on
Brown,
vacation.
okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
No,
go
it's
ahead, Robin.
Vacation, but Dino's in here to take his spot.
Good afternoon, Chair, Board, and Board members. This is Dino DeLeo, Energy Supply Officer for GRU. I'm here to cover the state of the utility for June and July, as well as go over the solar PPA quarterly status report through September of 2020. Chuck Height is also online as the project manager for the PPA if there are any solar questions. Under the state of the utility for June, we had one recordable injury. It was a hand injury. We had 2 minor vehicle accidents. We had no regulatory issues in June. 87 outages. Over half of those outages related to vegetation and animals. The peak load was 415 megawatts. We had one forced outage for Deerhaven 2. It was a 4-day outage for a tube leak. And we had 2 SSOs and water wastewater for the month of June. Any questions on the June state of the utility?
What is an SSO?
This is going to be sewer overflows. So anytime we have a sewer or sewage overflow, they call it SSO. All right, for the month of July, we had 0 recordables, good month. 2 minor vehicle accidents. We had no regulatory issues. We had 87 outages, about a third of those related to vegetation and animals, and another third related to equipment failures identified as part of the cause. We had peak load of 422 megawatts. That was on July 14th. We had additional Deerhaven 2 outage. It actually is related to the same outage we had in June. So in June, when we had a tube outage, one of the tubes actually washed away another tube that we did not catch during our hydro. As a result, we had another 3-day outage in July to repair Deerhaven 2 and bring it back online. And we had 0 SSOs in the month of July. Any questions for the July state of the utility?
Dino, this is Chair Porter here. Those tube leaks in Deerhaven 2 is 2 in the same place. Did you take a look around after the second one to see if it looked like there was a whole patch of them or what?
So the first tube leak that was in the June timeframe was an economizer tube leak. The economizer is a very tight bundle. So when a tube in the middle of the bundle causes a leak, in this case breaches, it washes away other tubes. You have no access to those using mirrors and other apparatus to try to do the repairs. And then following that, you do a hydrostatic test, which is about 80% of pressure. It's not full operating pressure because you're not allowed to do that on a cold boiler. So we did not find it during the hydro. Subsequently, we restarted the unit 22 days later. We saw significant water usage, obviously shut the unit down, found that tube leak in the same proximity where we had the original economizer tube leak. It was a washed away tube that was thin, but not breached, that obviously breached itself over that period of time. And we were not able to discover it on the first time.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Dino.
Yes, sir. Any other questions on July state of the utility? All right. Additionally, we have the solar PPA quarterly status report through September 2020 that we provided. It's broken up into two parts. It's a GRU scope, which is our responsibility as opposed supporting the PPA, and then Origis provides, which is the facilitator of the PPA. They provide update of their particular status, and you can see for us, we have several pending items associated with our studies that are in Connect grids that are all on track. We don't see any COVID impacts yet, and Origis is not reporting any COVID impacts yet as well. But there is a possibility of shipment and getting equipment in time that we may see that over time. And of course, we'll keep you abreast to each of the UAB meetings.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
I stand by, and Chuck Height stands by if there's any questions on the solar quarterly status report.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry. I was fumbling with my mute button there. Go ahead, Member Wheeler.
Thank you. So just for clarification, on these items that are pending from GRU side, GRU scope, they're pending because we're waiting for action from the consultant, or what is causing them to pend? I'm just curious.
On the first two, I'll let Chuck, you're online. I'll let you answer the question.
Yeah, this is Chuck Hyde. I'm the project manager for GRU, and the items that are pending are just items in progress. So, for instance, the first item is grid interconnection studies. We've hired two different consulting firms to work with us, and both of them are going through the motions of conducting the studies. So thus its status is pending. We do expect to wrap that one up by February, sometime in February of 2021 though.
So,
Okay.
Dr. Board, we do have in the expected completion date, you'll see the date we provide, and we don't see any impacts for COVID-19 at this particular point in time. So we provided those expected completion dates so you can see when we expect the approval of those items.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any other members have questions on the solar PPA quarterly status report? That's all I have. Appreciate your time.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I don't see a place for this on the agenda, but this might be a good point for either Dino or Ed to tell us about how successfully GRU has helped out other utilities during hurricanes.
Yeah, Ed could do a great job at that. The general manager is good at that.
Thank you. I agree.
I deflected before he deflected.
Yeah, it's a shame Gary's not here because Gary Basinger is our energy delivery officer, and he's in constant communication on mutual aid. And we've been really lucky this year in that we haven't had a lot of impact from hurricanes here in the central part of northeastern Florida. But we've been helping folks that are in Louisiana and Alabama, who have come to our aid in previous years. So we've developed a really good relationship. So they're back out again, I think in Fairhope, Alabama, getting ready to help the folks out there. And you may have seen some of the videos where we were in Louisiana and in Fairhope, and we left, and then we were basically given a parade through town where people kind of cheered and told everyone that they appreciated our presence there. And it's just really great for the folks that work at the utility to go out there and extend that kind of help. And I'll tell you, if they're there for a week or two, they also appreciate coming back to Gainesville, because I think some of Gary's crews were in a hotel that lost not only their electricity, but the water and wastewater services, and as well as gas. So a couple nights they were sleeping in their trucks, which after you've spent 12 or 13 hours doing a lot of work outside, not to have access to a shower and a nice place to sleep, it's tough sledding. But I'll tell you, I mean, the core, the esprit de corps that exists between these line workers, electric, water, wastewater folks is amazing. And they all come together you know, for whatever community is in trouble. And we know that as a result of our participation in these mutual aid, you know, endeavors, that they're going to be ready, willing, and able to come to our assistance when we need it, because we know we will need it at some point in the future. It's good for that exposure. It's good for GRU, and thank you for bringing that up. I really appreciate it.
I know it's not official board policy now because we can't do it for all the employees to bring these folks up and thank them before the board. And obviously we can't during COVID, but I do, at least this board member really appreciates the extra above and beyond that those folks do, and all these above and beyond the Call of Duty requirements. So thank you.
Yep, I'll extend those wishes from you and the rest of the board to them.
Yes, I think Member Wheeler does speak for us all. So thank you for that, for bringing that up, Member Wheeler.
And I'd like to mention yesterday, the APPA recognized GRU for their support of mutual aid for both Hurricane Laura and Sally. So the APPA actually provided an award to GRU for their support. And of course, they departed this morning in support of Delta.
Wow.
Yeah, we're going to work through the Greek alphabet here this year, I tell you what. Yeah.
Thanks
All
for
right.
remembering that, Dino, and appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. All right. So
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry. I
go
don't
ahead.
know. I don't know if Mr. Cunningham is on the line. I thought he was going to share some information with you tonight under this segment.
No, I don't think he was.
Oh,
Rob.
okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And that now that I'm looking at this agenda 6 ways to Sunday now, and now do we get to the work of the evening, which
Yes.
is the financial conversations.
Yes.
All right. So first one's up. I'm sure Mr. Benton has a presentation for us.
It will be short and sweet. As part of the financing to acquire the DHR facility in 2017, GRU issued $265 million in variable rate debt in the form of 2 direct purchase agreements, $150 million of 2017 Series B bonds with Wells Fargo, and $115 million in 2017 Series C bonds with Bank of America. Both of these direct purchase agreements have mandatory tender dates of November 7th, 2020, which means that we have to be ready to both identify and execute alternate financing options to renew this variable rate debt no later than those mandatory tender dates. In July, we came to the Utility Advisory Board and the City Commission and let you know that staff was going to do some price discovery work to develop an analysis as to what would be the most beneficial alternative between several choices, being renewing the existing direct purchase agreements, issuing new floating rate notes, or issuing variable rate demand bonds. And after reviewing market conditions and conducting discussions on the current variable rate debt environment with a number of market participants, together with our financial advisor and bond counsel, we determined that the following structure would result in the best outcome for the utility. First, renewal and reissuance of the $115 million direct placement with Bank of America on the 2017 Series C bonds. Second would be refunding $105 million of the 2017 Series B bonds through a direct placement with TD Bank that would be recognized as 2020 Series B bonds. And then finally, renewal and reissuance of the remaining $45 million of the Series 2017 B bond direct placement with Wells Fargo. So this first resolution that you have in front of you now, as well as the resolutions and the 2 succeeding agenda items, will execute this proposal. The resolution for this current item provides for implementation of the first segment of this proposal, the renewal and amendments to the $115 million direct placement with Bank of America on the 2017 season. So we are asking that the UAB recommend to the City Commission that they approve this resolution, which authorizes the amendment of the resolution which authorized the 2017 C bonds, the form of a replacement bond, and the form of an amendment to the continuing covenant agreement. And I here to answer any questions you may have, and we also have Chris Lover, our financial advisor from PFM, as well as Mike Weiner, our bond counsel from Holland and Knight, here tonight to address anything you may have a question about.
All right, thank you, Mark. Any members have any questions? Well, I'll lead off one. Just in summary, this date was fixed in time quite a while ago. You have to reconfigure this debt as of the November date of this year.
That's correct.
Right. And the work you did all summer was just to discover the best and most advantageous way to do that.
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
And it looks like that what you've recommended, if I'm reading it correctly, is a slight decrease in interest rate.
On one of the items, we are going from on this current one, the 2017 C, the percentage of LIBOR that we are paying will move from 85% to 80%, and the spread will move from 62 basis points to 59 basis points. So on this item, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay. So all in all, in summary, for the lay audience, so to speak, of which I would include myself in that, you basically reconfigured your debt at a slightly more advantageous situation.
On this, yes, on the 2017 Cs, that's correct. The current interest rates that it's going to go down slightly. That's not the case on the other two items that you're going to see on the succeeding agenda items.
Okay, thank you.
And I would add that the index will go down. Doesn't necessarily mean the interest rate would go down, because the index could go up.
That's right. Yeah.
So, but for apples to apples, you are correct.
Yeah.
And I would also mention that's Ed's right. The index can go up and down, but I'll remind everybody that these particular items are synthetically fixed. So we are receiving a variable rate payment that's based on that index as well. So if the payment that we're making on the underlying debt the rate goes up, what we're receiving on the variable leg of the swap goes up as well.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. And these are broken up into 3 different resolutions.
That's correct. We have 3 separate agenda items.
Move to approve staff's recommendation.
We've got a motion to approve a staff recommendation. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And we have a motion and a second. All right. Any further discussion on this item? Member Crow, go ahead.
If we're expected to vote on this resolution, we've heard here just a few minutes ago that several consultants said that this is the optimum solution to what's faced. Why is it the optimum? What is the rationale? What is the driving factor that this is better than, say, some other solution?
That's a great question, Mr. Fletcher, Bro. And that's why we have some consultants here that actually did that work. We have a financial consultant, Chris Lover, if you would want to address that for our board, Chris.
Yes. So good evening, Chris Lover of Public Financial Management. We started looking at this renewal or replacement effort back in March. So it's been a long road. And we looked at various options, as Mr. Benton discussed. We looked at just seeing if we should fix out this debt by issuing long-term bonds, or should we keep it in this variable rate mode where the rate generally fluctuates? And we looked at different products. So you could have three or four different options on what type of variable rate debt to issue. So if you recall, back in March, the height of the COVID crisis, we actually didn't think we were going to be able to renew these facilities at advantageous rates. So we basically, meaning PFM, working with GRU staff and talking with some banks that you traditionally work with and some you don't traditionally work with, we did what we call price discovery, meaning we asked them, if you'd renew this facility, how much would it be? And initially, someone like Bank of America said, I can only renew it for 1 year, and the fee is going way up because it's the middle of the COVID crisis. So that's when we started doing all this other analysis of, do we issue fixed rate debt or other forms of variable rate debt where you don't need a bank to provide this credit facility or direct purchase for you. So you do something quite different. So we ran all the numbers, and over time, actually, the cost of these credit facilities or these direct purchases came down as the COVID initial crisis was in the rearview mirror. The fees came down, and they soon became the more advantageous way to go. So when I say advantageous, it is in terms of debt service savings. The other thing is you save some staff time, because you don't have to get a rating from one of the rating agencies, and you also do not have to update any of your disclosure documents, which are about 300 to 400 pages long, and basically tell investors the status of the utility. So really those three different criteria, debt service savings, staff time, and ratings, really led us to basically go with this renewal and replacement. We do note that we brought in TD Bank. That's a new bank that GRU has not worked with before. And the reason why is they have a great fee. They wanted to come in and really show GRU how much they want to be involved in the financing team. And they have a very compelling rate. So we pushed Wells Fargo. We lowered the amount. They were at 150 million. We reduced them to 45 million, and we brought TD Bank in to take up that difference. So it really was the lowest cost option, we feel.
All right, thank you. Any other members have any questions? All right, so at this point in time, before we take the vote, if there's a citizen comment out here, I think it's time for that.
No comments on this item.
All right, thank you very much. Seeing no more questions by our board, it's time for a vote, and we'll let our Robin Baxley take a roll call for that.
Member Wheeler?
Aye.
Before you vote, you need public comment.
We asked, and there wasn't anybody.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
So Member Wheeler said aye. Member Jacobson?
Aye.
Member Miles?
Aye.
Member Rockwell is absent. Member Crow?
Aye.
And Member Fultz?
Aye.
And Chair Porter?
Aye.
All right, that motion passes.
All right, moving on to ever more exciting topics. Resolution authorizing the refunding of a portion of the 2017 Series B bonds. So I think that's the next shoe to drop.
Yes, and I'm frequently described as ever more exciting as we move from one to the other. So I appreciate that, Mr. Chair.
Wait, I have to do a fact check. That's not true, Mr. Benton. That's not true.
The resolution associated with this item will implement the second part of the proposal, which is refunding $105 million of the existing 2017 B bond direct placement with Wells Fargo through the issuance of the $105 million direct placement with TD Bank, which were designated as the 2020 Series B bonds. So we're asking that the UAB recommend to the City Commission that they approve the resolution authorizing First, the issuance of the $105 million in 2020 Series B bonds, the form of a bond purchase agreement, the form of a continuing covenant agreement, and the form of a paying agent and registrar agreement.
All right. Any comments here? Open for member comments. Again, I would have to imagine that the same answers that our financial consultant would be appropriate for these also. A good
Correct.
question to ask Member Crow, and good answers. So, yeah, I can't imagine doing your all's work in the middle of some of the strangest markets we've seen in a number of years. So hats off to you for that.
You know, the only thing I'd mention, everyone, is, you know, when you think about the amount of money that's being borrowed, and you look at those ultimate interest rates, you know, based on these indexes, you know, they're well below 1%.
Yes.
When you think about, you know, the flexibility that gives the organization, even in setting up swap arrangements and things like that on the interest, you know, it's been really a great thing for the organization, and you know, not only under Mark's stewardship here, but the consultants that we have that work for us, like Mike Weiner and Chris Lover, they've been on top of this, and they're very good at understanding that, yeah, we're in a crisis at the beginning of COVID, but let's wait and see, and let's judiciously process this to make the right timing on it. And so I have to just give them kudos as we're going through this, and to keep in mind the interest rates that we're coming up with, particularly after we just looked at some of the things that we, you know, just we've refinanced the pension obligation bonds is somewhere around 3%, you know,
Yeah.
for the city itself. And we're 1/3 of that rate on this variable basis. So I'll stop with the advertisement.
Yeah, I frankly had to read that paragraph a couple times because I could not believe the interest rates, being that I'm a consumer of interest rates in terms of borrowing, and yeah, I've gobsmacked. All right.
There was a story in the paper this morning that some banks maybe in the future looking to negative interest rates.
That's happened in other parts of the world already. So yeah. All right. So we have no further discussion. So Robin, if you'd take the roll call on the vote again, if you would, please.
You'll need to make a motion.
Hold on.
We need to make a motion. So move staff's recommendation.
All right. And do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. And then we've had plenty of discussion, but we're going to ask if we have public comment.
Apologies, we have a public comment on the next item, not the current item.
Okay, on the next item. Thank you. All right. Okay, so I think we've covered the things I just missed. Thank you all for keeping me in line.
One question first. The proceeds of these bonds, are they delegated to some specific purpose, or are they just general revenue bonds?
If you mean, are they delegated to a specific purpose in terms of how the projects they're expended on? They go to fund our capital
outlay or certain obligations.
Yeah, they go to fund our capital project plan.
All right. Let's
Okay.
see. Robin, I think it's, yep, I think we are.
Member Wheeler,
Aye.
Member Jacobson,
Aye.
Member Miles,
Aye.
Member Rockwell is absent, Member Crow,
Aye.
Member Fultz,
Aye.
and Chair Porter.
Aye.
That motion passes.
All right. Thank you. And now we're on to our third financial and exciting presentation today. Resolution authorizing the renewal and reissuance of a portion of the 2017 series bonds direct placement with Wells Fargo.
Yes, Mr. Chair, and this implements that final piece that the implementation of the renewal and reissuance of that remaining 45 million of the 2017 B direct placement. And we're asking that the Utility Advisory Board recommend to the City Commission that they approve the resolution which authorizes the amendment of the resolution authorizing the original 2017 B bonds, the form of a replacement bond, and the form of an amendment to the continuing covenant agreement.
All right. Thank you for that. Any comments, any questions from our members?
This is a very, Mr. Chair, if I may, a really
Yeah,
basic
go ahead.
question. I'm just reading through this. Refunding 105 million. So that means paying the lenders back. That means reducing the total debt load. Is that correct?
No, we're simply replacing the $105 million of debt that now resides with Wells Fargo as part of the 2017 B with $105 million in a direct placement to TD Bank. So there's no reduction of outstanding principal from any of these items. It's simply a renewal of the existing variable rate debt.
So no net change.
No net change.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Wheeler. That was a good question.
If it was a refinancing of your home, there's no cash out.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Any other questions? Any reason to go with, well, no, you already said the reason. I'm looking at the difference of why didn't you pull the whole thing into TD Bank instead of, and leave some at Wells Fargo? Why did you split that up?
Well,
that's a good question.
There's a couple reasons. Number one, as Chris mentioned, TD Bank is a new bank that we haven't done business with before. So in a way, splitting it rather than moving it all to TD further diversifies our exposure to the banks. Plus, it gives us the ability to see how TD performs for us, without moving the entire piece over there. It also keeps the amount of the existing bonds consistent with the apportioning of those bonds associated with the swaps that are hedging these pieces. We have $105 million and a $45 million swap that hedges this variable rate debt, so it keeps it consistent with that.
All right. Thank you. All right. Do I hear any more discussion or a motion of sorts?
Move to approve staff's recommendation.
All right. Thank you, Member Wheeler.
Second.
We have a first and a second. And do we have public comment on this?
We do have public comment on this. We have one caller, Brian O'Brien. You will have 3 minutes to provide your comment. Brian, you are live and on the air.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I just had a question for Mr. Lover. You're with PFM Investment, sir?
PFM Financial Advisors.
Okay. And according to my information, PFM Financial Advisors is also part of the umbrella organization PFM Investments.
Actually, the PFM. Sorry, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, usually member comment is for a member comment, not for an interrogation. So I'd like to hear your comment, Mr. O'Brien.
Yeah, I just would like to know, and whoever said that word interrogation, I'd certainly like to know who that was on the phone, as I can't see you.
That's the chair, and sorry for that indelicate word, but back and forth questioning of that is not what member comment is for. It usually doesn't go back and forth. So sorry about my unfortunate choice of words there, Mr. O'Brien.
Right. I just, given that this is a large sum of money and that PFM advisors, Mr. Lover, is probably the only person in the room other than maybe Mr. Benton, if he's in the same facility, and possibly Mr. Belarski, that really understands this transaction. My question to Mr. Lover is, are you also in a parent company that represents investment bankers, including Cadre Financial Services?
I can answer that question. PFM serves as a fiduciary to GRU. We also serve as another one of our managing directors serves as fiduciary to the city of Gainesville. We do not underwrite or hold positions in our financial advisory business. So our sole purpose is to represent the interests of our clients, and our clients being GRU, and for my coworker down in Orlando, the city of Gainesville.
Right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I guess I'm trying to understand if your company also represents the interests of investment bankers.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien, for your comments. I appreciate that, and we'll have to move on. Thank you.
We have no other callers on this item.
Thank you. All right, we've had our discussion and member and citizen comment. So I think we're ready for a vote, or I think that's it. Rob?
Okay. Yes, Member Wheeler,
Aye.
Member Jacobson,
Aye.
Member Miles,
Aye.
Member Rockwell is absent, Member Crow,
Aye.
Member Foltz,
Aye.
and Chair Porter.
Aye.
That motion passes.
All right, thank you. All right, so that brings us through all of those items. And then we have one item of our own, which was the energy policy. Is that correct, Robin?
Yes.
All
Yes.
right. The energy policy came in. You all got copies on that, which was general government and utility comments. Robin will probably mention at the end of the meeting a date she has for get-togethers. What I would recommend is that we have a workshop on this, and that we go into it with the idea towards breaking down the comments from various organizations into piles such as this one's informational, no action required. This one seems like it's brought up something important. Do we have to change what we say, or do we not change, or do we strengthen what we say because that's what we want? Things of that nature, to break it down into that. So I'll open the floor to comments to everybody, but that's kind of the direction I think would move this along a little quicker, to kind of break it down into that, to see the limited number of things we truly need to work on where we do have a significant disagreement with others. Now, I haven't gone all the way through that to even know if we have those yet, but I'm just presupposing. Member Miles has got her question up there. Member Miles, go ahead with your comments.
Yes, I wanted to also add, Chair Porter, that we had talked a little bit when we first started doing this about doing some community engagement.
Yes.
Surrounding the energy plan. I'm currently working on some pop-up conversation pieces for the community. I got me an outdoor theater system.
Wow, cool.
Oh yeah, and I'm going to the food trucks, and they're gonna cater while we're there. And we're gonna put some money in their pockets, and we're gonna have people listen at different things and put information. So I wanted to discuss at that time some ways we can still do some robust community engagement, because I still want the community to also buy into this energy plan.
Yeah. Good. Thank you, Carla. Yeah. Member Crow, go ahead.
Yeah. Before we get down in the weeds on this document, I'm wondering what the background is. What was the motivation for having it? Where does it come from and how is it to be used? I need a paragraph of background. Maybe we already have it, but I certainly haven't seen that. Just a
Member
general
Crow,
overview.
Member Crow, that's a good question. It came about because it was deemed by people that were on the board before most of us that basically we were answering our problems regarding energy in this city on an ad hoc basis, one at a time. And then we had no underlying document that basically set the stage for how we were going to look at these things in a more thoughtful manner. And so we put basically our heads together and came up with an energy policy that covered every facet of how you deal with energy in this town and made comments on all of those, sort of a direction or a thought process. And that went through us several very interesting meetings, more than a few. And then it went off to the city for comment. And there it sat being commented on for quite a bit of time and just recently came back to us. So it's not really a finished document yet. So that's kind of the situation we're in right now, is coming back, incorporating or not the comments that come in from GRU and general government, and moving forward to a document that we can work on and present to the public, like Carla Miles was just referring to. So that's kind of the short, quick, dirty version. Anybody else can comment.
Will it be ultimately adopted by the city commission?
Yes.
Not this advisory board.
Well, it's a kind of a dual document produced by the city commission and the UAB. We produce it, but they have to agree to it. So it eventually will be a city document.
Do we have any due date for this work?
Some people would feel like the due date should have been months ago, but again, government, Carla, stop it. But everybody moves.
Overdue.
It's overdue. Yeah.
But I just wanted to add that it would really be a good opportunity at this workshop for some of our new members to maybe look over it as well.
Sure.
See maybe something unique that they have to offer or add that we may have missed in the first almost a year that we worked on this particular document.
Yeah. Thank you, Carla. That's exactly right. And I'll point the finger at myself first. We've been given those documents, and again, my schedule being in Zoom land and my work at the university, I've not had time to read through that yet. But I think that's the first thing before we go to a workshop, is for us individually to go through and see what we find in there, the nuggets that we agree with, the ones we don't, the things that we need to be fixed, and be prepared to go in the meeting with some direction, and a little bit of a speed learning for our new members, though.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, go ahead, Member Wheeler.
I've sent a message to Robin on this. She's working on it, but just as we prepare for that workshop, particularly for the new members, we should be aware that the latest document she sent out is not the latest one we sent out for review. She just sent the staff comments. The actual plan that we sent out had much more in it. Had a number of initiatives which were not in this particular version that Robin sent out to us last week and last month.
Gotcha.
And I would urge caution that some of the staff's comments don't make a whole heck of a lot of sense because they're responding to initiatives instead of policy. So when we go forward, we really need to have the entire plan, including initiatives. And on that point, Robin's researching this as well. I'm pretty sure we had my schedule, my timeline that I had originally in section 2.2. I know that the general manager and I have had some disagreements about including a schedule, but I'd like to revisit that because I think I'm looking at October from last year and it was in there at that time. So I would like to have that schedule included if we discuss it in the workshop.
I think a general answer to that would be that the latest version that we finished should be included with our review package. So if we can get that sent out to us, that would be the way to solve that.
And I believe Robin's working on it. I just wanted to I'll make sure all the board members were aware that what we had now is not the actual plan.
Thank you, Member Wheeler. I probably would have stumbled on for quite some time until that would have dawned on me as well. So thank you for saving me the time and trouble.
Chair Porter, if I could just jump in on that point.
Thank you.
I do apologize. I should have explained when I sent that out to you all. What I sent to you was a compilation of staff's comments.
Yes.
What they got to comment on was your full document.
Gotcha.
And I, rather than give Ed 10 documents or give you all 10 documents to review, I just compiled them all into one, and
Okay.
it looks different. I do apologize for not explaining that better.
Okay. All right.
And I don't mind that it looks different. It's just with the copy you sent, I didn't include the initiative, the detailed initiatives that we had in the previous version.
Yeah. All right. So I didn't really to answer one of Member Crow's worries. I didn't really think that we would want to take the time tonight to go into the weeds, because I think we really need to sit down in a workshop mode with preparation that we've read through it all with some comments to make, and so we can directly finish up this project. So do I hear any sense of the board, the rest of you thinking along those same lines, or what?
Sounds good to
Okay,
me.
got some thumbs up there, so I'm happy with that. Got somebody want to make a comment? Yeah, go ahead, Member Crow.
Yeah, in the past, when we've analyzed various draft documents, we've sent our comments to and then they've been collected and then sent out to staff. And I'm wondering if we could have that same procedure this time, so that they're sent in and collected together and then sent as a package for review before we have a formal meeting.
That's a possibility, but I think what Robin's going to come up with are some pretty soon dates, because we're trying to meet another deadline. And so we might not have too much time to be doing that. But again, where applicable, I think that's a good idea.
We may want to have Miss Bennett comment on that, on whether or not we can send comments back and forth.
No, we send comments in and have Robin collect them. They wouldn't go back and forth.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. Was that a good answer,
That
legal
was
counsel?
perfect answer.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to make a comment here, folks. I mean, I think you did spend a lot of time in putting together, a lot of these documents, and I think that, we've went through the process of looking at it internally with the staff at GRU and general government, and you may well change some of these things, but I think comes a point in which it goes past its expiration date if you don't act upon it at a certain point. And I don't want to speak for the UAB, but I'm just saying from, in looking outside in, you lose the various momentum and things that you were trying to push for to get this to the city commission, because that's where the proof of the pudding is.
Yeah. Thank you, Ed. That's always a good thing to keep in touch with. Member Miles.
Yes, I just wanted to kind of amen kind of what Ed was just saying. I can respect wanting to get it down, nailed to the whatever Mr. Crow sent it back and forth. But at this point, we've been working on it for a year, and we've sent it to staff and general government for their comments. They've sent it back with some of the recommended changes. We're going to discuss those changes together as a unit, and we're going to try to get towards some completion. Sending it back to for another few months of them going back and forth, we can do that forever, and we're never going to get teetotally what everybody wants. And so at this point, after a whole year of almost working on this, I think it would be a little bit redundant to keep sending it back and forth at this point.
Well, I fully agree, Carla. I'm not sure that's what Member Crow meant. I think we were just talking about making sure that we got the changes in. And reflected what general government and GRU has sent back to us.
Yes, he said send it back to staff. And I thought he meant for them to review, and they may say, yeah, no, that's not what we were talking about. We wanted something totally different. They sent it back to us.
No.
We sent it back to them. And that's kind of what it opens up for me.
Gotcha.
That's before coming up with strategic plans and policies. So at some point, it has to come to an end. That's all.
No, I'd put my
Opinion.
flat foot, no arch feet down on that one. So I agree with you on that one. But again, we need to take a look at what has been said and comment and work through that at our workshop. So that being said, we can't talk about meeting dates until we have member comments. And then do we have a final citizens comment, or have we already gone through that? You're muted there, Robin.
My apologies. I don't think I included a final citizen comment at the end. No, I did not. As I said, I'm following the commission's guidelines, and they have not included that at the end.
Gotcha.
So.
All right. So I'm going, since it's germane to what we're trying to do here, I'm going to ask if Robin would at least say if she has some dates for that workshop that we talked about.
I do. So just as a reminder for everyone, you have a joint meeting with the City Commission on October 27th. And I think your goal is to have a workshop before then so that you be prepared. The dates that I have are Tuesday, October 13th, Wednesday, October 14th. That's next week. I know it's soon. And then the following week, we have Tuesday, the 20th, and Wednesday, the 21st.
Okay, so we have the 13th, the 14th, and the 20th, and the 21st.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not going to ask everybody to work through their calendars online right now. How do we best do that? Have you put a doodle poll out before, Robin, on that?
I haven't. I just collected these dates today, as a matter of fact. But
No, I meant, can you?
okay,
yeah.
Yes, I can, and will do that. Get that out to you, and hopefully everyone can respond tomorrow.
Yeah. And Member Wheeler, you're still on board here?
Yes, I can make it the 20th. The other dates, I'm not sure.
No, I wasn't going to comment on that. It's just that with my schedule, you might be chairing the meeting, Wes. So again, we'll see how the dates turn out, and we'll see what my calendar says. But just I wanted to tell you publicly if we want to make sure that the date is copacetic for both me and Wes.
Yes, and so long as I have access to internet, I'll be able to do it. That's
all right. Thanks,
great.
Wes. Okay,
before we move away from this, I'd like Robin to confirm, not now, but just go through her notes. The last version I have of the plan that we sent out was October 15, 2019. So if we could do a version check.
Gotcha.
Yes, I will make sure that you all get that before the weekend, which will be tomorrow, I guess. Make sure that you all have the latest draft, the last draft that you all completed, and you do have staff's comments there so you can compare those.
Thank you.
Yeah, if I could add, I think that's the way you need to do it. You look at the last plan and just take the comments and compare it against the last plan, as opposed to that document that the comments are in. A little awkward, but
nothing compared to doing aerospace verification documents. So yeah, awkward's got nothing on that. So I'm good with that.
Mr. Chair, I have one more question.
Yeah, go ahead, Member Wheeler.
In preparing for this meeting, it may be awkward, but it might be a courtesy to invite former UAB members who worked on this document to attend. I don't know how you would feel about it. I don't know how staff would feel about that.
Member Sylvester and Member Alford would be, informational, but again, many voices, we'd get many more discussions. So I wouldn't be adverse to sending it out to them and seeing if they have any comments, but I'd rather keep just the members in there and have their voices be heard.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Wes. Not a bad suggestion, but again, this is the board we have now. Yeah. So kind of went around the next meeting date and everything else, but I guess that brings us to member comment.
I have one member comment, and it's going to be really brief. I just really think that Robin is amazing.
Yes.
And I wouldn't want to have her job, but I just want her to know on record how much I really, really appreciate what she does. And I think staff doesn't get enough kudos. They run back and forth and they up and down and they're doing their thing in their day job and staying late. And she's always pleasant. And so that's appreciated.
Yes. I think you got 100% agreement on that from everybody here. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Any other member comments?
Mr. Chair, I had something.
Yeah, go ahead, Jason.
So this is my first time on this side of one of these kind of things. I've been to an awful lot of city commission meetings and even UAB meetings before ever being a member. And one thing I've always been very uncomfortable with in relation to citizen comment is generally the way citizen comment gets handled. And I don't know if there's anything we can do about that, but just as an example, people often will make a citizen comment that is either outlandish or that really needs to be addressed. And so this sort of pattern that I've seen at city commission meetings and even here at the UAB, where somebody calls in and says something and then we're, okay, thank you, and we move on. I've just never been comfortable with that. And I just am wondering if there's something different that we can do, at the very least, a commitment to when someone says something outlandish, that there's at least a response to it. And I'm just thinking about that in particular, having more recently watched some debates where some pretty outlandish things were said. And, you get the fact checking the next day if you bother to look into it. But if you don't, then those comments are just left hanging out there in the air. And I think particularly given, the way this utility gets slammed a lot in this community, that we shouldn't leave outlandish things hanging in the air. So I just want to throw that out there as sort of something that has been on my mind and hear what folks thought.
Thank you, Member Fultz. You took some of the words right off the top of my head, but we'll let that sit right there for a second because Member Miles has a comment too.
So I just wanted to say with Jason, when I first started serving on boards, I thought the same thing. Well, that's not really nice. Comment, and we don't just go right over it, and I can't ask no question. And this is when I was on the other side, because I was just like the gentleman that was on, and I was like, I want to ask some questions, and I wanted some answers to my questions. And I realized that when you start to set the precedent for doing that, then you set the precedent for having 1 o'clock, 1 a.m., 11:30, 12 o'clock meetings that gonna go back and forth. Because if we allow the opportunity for us to respond, then we have to open up a process, in my opinion, to make it fair and equitable for everybody to discuss. And that's not what it is. It is exactly, and I've traveled a lot, and I didn't just come to this conclusion sitting here in Gainesville. I came to this conclusion traveling and attending meetings, the Public Power Association, networking, and I was like, it can't be this contentious everywhere, and it can't be. And they're like, yeah, this is kind of how this go, punkin'. And so citizen comment is just that. They make a comment and they may raise some questions that may excite some questions for the general public to write into us, and excite some things for us to write op-eds and to respond in the community and find other ways to kind of answer. But I just really don't think that our couple of hours meeting at the end of our days that start after our staff has gotten off is the opportunity to open up our citizens' comment for a back and forth between us and the citizens that are commenting. Because if we have to do it on our side, where we can respond to them and their answers and we're answering their stuff, then we have to then begin answering their questions, which, as you notice, if we were going to get into that, we will go in a back and forth for hours. And I just don't think that's the right thing to do in our meeting.
Let me just add in there just real quick, comment from Member Jacobson next, but several times members of the community have brought up questions where I've gone back and got further detail from staff or somebody else to get to the bottom of their question. And so it's not that I didn't take it seriously. It's just that, this discovery of every piece of data in a 3-minute comment is just not going to happen. And that's, at the best part of this, it does excite, to use Carla's word, that's a good word, me to go and do further digging on behalf of the public to get an answer. So it's not that they're not paid attention to, it's just that the discovery might be the next 3 weeks. It might be 6 phone calls. It might be 26 articles I read before I get to the bottom of something. So again, that's the kind of the rest of the story on that. Member Jacobson.
Just on a similar note, I mean, there are times when someone brings up a point or asks a question where I know I've done it and others have done it. We'll say, well, that was a good point. We'll signal, okay, I want to say something, and go ahead and ask that question if we feel it was a good question. And then to the other half of Jason, what you were saying, when someone says something just really aggressive and obnoxious, in ways I feel like we should respond, but I think a lot of times discretion is a better part of valor. Just let it sit. You move on. I think probably is the right answer, rather than engage in someone who's already gone pretty far.
Yeah, and with my temper, that's definitely the better answer. Thank you, Barry. Ed, go ahead. General Manager Bilarski.
I just had to say something because I spent probably the better part of a year, during the time we were looking at the referendum, trying to get the facts out through Facebook. As probably the only general manager in the United States that was actively on Facebook talking about the realities of the utility, and talk about being all encompassing and absorbing and not getting any return on your investment. No matter, it was whack-a-mole. I mean, you literally would be ignored for what you said and go over and go over and go over. I feel for you, Mr. Foltz, because even today, when Mr. O'Brien asked the question, he kind of had a simple question: was PFM related to PFM investments? And they're not. PFM investment, and it was answered by our advisor, who said that we're a fiduciary, which, other investment houses are not. They're working for our interests. They're not making money off the selling or the commission on these transactions. And it would seem that you could go down that route and answer these questions, but as you do, they just multiply and multiply and multiply. And quite frankly, I think the citizen comment is exactly what Mr. Porter or Chair Porter talked about, and that is for you to absorb as kind of their representatives, and do your research and come back, and I'll be glad to go into whatever detail I have to with the folks on the board here to make you comfortable, so that you can go out and tell all the people that are coming to you saying, Carla, what the heck's going on? Right?
And I know they do that to Carla.
I know they do it too.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead, Member Wheeler.
I just want to add my little 2 cents here. Jason, you bring up some good points, but most of the public comments are great comments, and we follow up on them just like Chairman Porter has been saying, but there are a few comments that are intended to provoke, incite, to divert, to obscure, to obfuscate, to annoy the living, to really get under our skins and keep us from getting our job done. And if we react in the way that the provoker is trying to get us to react, then the meetings just goes to hell in a handbasket. So you got to kind of keep the ship in a straight line and follow up like Wendell is suggesting we do.
Thank you, Member Wheeler. All right, so we've talked about dates, member comments. Does that bring us to the adjournment there?
Motion. Motion to adjourn.
I was checking with Robin first to see if it was okay.
Okay, don't tease me, Wes. Don't.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
member Jacobson has a question here.
Because I'm not ready to leave yet. I don't think we ever approved the minutes from the last meeting.
Oh, yes, that was on the consent agenda. Adopted consent.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I motioned that we adjourn them.
Yeah. All right. We've got a motion in 6 or 7 seconds, and so I think that's good. Thanks for putting up with some fumbles on the ball there on my part, and hopefully, I took some notes on the membership and the roll call, Robin, if you need that. So, but I think you got that now.
Yes, I think only member Rockwell was absent. Is that
Yes,
correct?
that's correct. Yeah.
Do you have a sense of what time the meeting actually started?
It was about 5:41 because it was after 5:37. It was a few minutes after that.
Okay, that's fine. Other than that, I have no further comments that I need to make. So,
All right. Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Right.
Stay healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. Ed, you got a minute?
Yeah, sure. You know, we've had a little bit of that problem this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
We really have.
And that's I'm over there where where you're Daniel Herget, his neighborhood.
Daniel Herget.
He's one of your managers. He might have retired.
Oh, and I guess